Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Mechanical Warriors. My name's Josh Cav, and in this episode, or this series of episodes, we're going to be letting the Supra take main stage here, and we're going to be basically changing the way we do things to try and get more content out faster. So when we first set up the Supra and how we were putting it together, I had a list of all the things inside the app on what we're going to do, and we're going to do it in that order. The problem is we're constantly waiting for parts. So in order to try and speed up production with films, what we're going to do is do what we can with the stuff that we have, and then we will just basically film everything, still release the episodes in order as it displays in the app, but we're going to do regular updates on the work that we're doing each week on the Supra and just keep updating you that way. So that way we've got more regular updates with the Supra, and hopefully we can get this car done a lot quicker and then do the draw and deliver it to its new owner. So the next thing that we're going to be focusing on the car is the interior. We're going to be working on the dash. We've got the dash out over there. We'll go check out that in a moment. But the first thing that we've got to do is pretty much work out, if we come over here, inside the back. Now obviously, let me just open this boot up. I don't have the struts in, so I'm going to have to hold this. But basically, inside the back here, I'm going to make my own insert that comes up around here, follows this, and then somehow follows this contour down. We're not putting the back seats in, so we're going to be having subwoofers there, amplifiers, the Nexus R5 on display. That'll all be recessed in. We'll have the two NOS bottles here as well. They will also be recessed into the back. And then we're going to hexagon stitch, which is a leather stitching hexagon. I'll show you an image of that on the screen in a moment, what it looks like. And I'm thinking dark suede, a really almost black dark suede, with obviously stitching running around all the edges to break up the hexagon stitching pattern. So everything is going to be recovered, every inch of this car on the inside. So we're going to work on this insert to get that done, get the NOS bottles sitting right, because inside here, not only we've got to have two NOS bottles, we've got to have a fuel tank, a battery, and all of the electronics, including two subwoofers, 3 amplifiers, the ECU, which is the Nexus R5, and I believe that's it. All has to be nicely fitted in this area. So there's quite a lot of components to fit in there. So we're going to work on that insert. We've got racing bucket seats that we're going to be ordering for the States for the front. So it won't be a 4-seater anymore. It'll only be a 2-seater. But the back will look absolutely amazing once we're finished. Now with the dash, if we come over here to the dash, we're just sort of getting this out. Now, my plan, which I'm still working on this, is we've got quite a big head unit going in this. It's roughly this big. It should be here any day. In fact, I think it's here today. At the post office, we've got to go pick it up. Now it sits about this big. Now obviously I don't want to have this U shape going down like that anymore, so we're going to get rid of that, make the dash more flush, so a more modern designed dash. We're going to get rid of all of these compartments, these vents. We're going to stick to a circled aluminium vent, which we're going to make it uniform across this whole dash, and then we're going to be using the hexagon stitch and also the suede in combination in this dash. We've got an IC10 Heltec unit to go in here for all of our instrument cluster, and then obviously a nice big Tesla style head unit screen that will also sit recessed in so it looks factory. Really going for a factory look here with everything. So quite a lot of work to be done with this dash. There's a lot of, if you look here, parts of the dash have actually lifted away from the plastic. So all of this is going to be cut out And we'll basically be using the back of this as a frame to attach to the original parts of the dash inside. And then I'll use this front part, we'll cut all that off, and then I'll design my own front. We'll cover it, same with the back. We've got to do the back insert, cover it, and then we can start moving on to electronics and running all of the wiring for everything to work. So quite a lot of work to do. So let's get stuck into this rear insert for the NOS bottles and all of the other electrical components that are going to go in there. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm coming from the bottom, but I'm rising.
So after a quick trip to Bunnings, I grabbed some small ply sheets and NBF board and started to cut out my rough frame to put in the car just to see what it would look like. Then after I was happy with it, I cut the same pieces out of the thicker NBF board, as this is better for building speaker boxes out of, and we're going to be adding subs and speakers to this part we're building. I used metal brackets to brace the frame into place and then check to see how deep I need to make my recesses for the NOS bottles that we're going to be installing. This can't be too deep because we're adding a second fuel tank to hold E85 underneath this insert. After cutting all the pointy parts off the rough structure, it was time to fiberglass everything into place. The fiberglass gives the structure a lot of strength and will stop anything vibrating from the sound system we're going to be installing. After a quick sand, I used filler to create the shape I was after. This part is very messy and itchy, but I find filler such a cool product to work with in crafting the shape you're after. Just add more than you need and sand it back to create the shape you want. There's probably better ways of doing this, but this is the way I like to do it.
Okay guys, so we've got our sort of base structure in here for the back piece. The next job that I'm going to do is work on this front section and the section down the side, getting these side structure pieces sorted. So I'll fiberglass them in, and then we'll use bog and filler to get our basic structure, sand it all back so that it's nice and sort of in shape, or in the shape that we're after. There's going to be a lot more shaping to this. This is still very rough, but you can see it's starting to come together. Same on this front bit. I'm going to be, let me just jump in here. I'm going to be, same deal, fiberglassing all of this, and then there's a fair bit of shaping to do on this piece as well. So this section here, I'm going to basically cut a recess that's going to come up like so, and then inwards a little bit, and that will recess in for the seat. And then on the top of that, it will have a little lip that will come down backwards behind the head. Same on the other side. Then we've got a bunch of things that we've got to put into this parcel shelf. We've got the Nexus R5, which is going to go right in the center. We've got two subs, 10-inch subs we've got to fit in here somehow, as well as 3 amplifiers and 2 6-inch splits. 2 NOS bottles as well have to be recessed into the back. I'll show you what I plan to do with that. So in the back here, again, it's all sort of in my head, but I just keep moving on it and it's just starting to come together. So I will basically cut a huge recess in here, and I'm thinking I'm going to lie the NOS bottles straight. I was going to put them on an angle, but the more I think about it, the more I think it'll look cool with them directly straight. And then obviously up on an angle like this with a recess coming outwards, and then I'll have lights underneath it shining upwards to sort of give it that glowing effect at night. So still a lot of work to do on this piece, a lot of work to do on the front. So let's keep going. Let's go.
So just like the rear piece, we need to fiberglass the middle piece into place. When you're molding fiberglass to plastic, make sure you scuff up the plastic with a very coarse grit sandpaper. I added a few tech screws and some deep cuts to the plastic to give it a better bond to the fiberglass resin. Now it's time to add filler and start shaping it by sanding it using blocks and other shapes to get the desired effect I'm after. If you're not happy with the end result, just add more filler and go again until you're happy with it. I had a few attempts at this till I got the curves matching on both sides and the lines I was after.
Okay guys, so we have finished the rough insert, the two pieces. So the rear piece, we've got the shape here, same on the other side. We've still got obviously a lot of work to do on this back piece alone. So we're gonna have two recesses here for the two big NOS bottles. I'm feeling like I'm gonna make them go straight rather than an offset. I don't know, in my mind, I think it's gonna look better straight. Anyway, so I wanted to finish that front piece and get all these edges done before I started work on the recesses, because we still got to, on the back side of these, fiberglass them just so they've got strength, because we're going to have a lot of stereo system in here and we don't want any vibrations, so everything's going to be reinforced underneath as well as on top. So come and I'll show you the back piece, what's been done. It's an absolute mess in here, but unfortunately that's just no avoiding it with this type of work. A lot of bogging and sanding and fiberglassing and itchy, yucky work, but it's got to be done. So as you can see here, this edge runs around and meets up with this original plastic really nicely. Something I'd like to point out when you're using plastic and bog, if you fiberglass over your plastic, so first sand the plastic and make a really, really rough finish on the plastic, and then fiberglass straight over the top of that, and then obviously bog has no problem sticking to fiberglass. So that's a way you can marry wood up against fiberglass for anyone who wants to try something themselves. More work to be done in here, but as I said, just wanted to get the base structure done, which we've got that now. The next job is going to be pulling this insert out, and then we're going to cut our recesses in. Obviously there's going to be one roughly here. It'll go in as per the seat, so it'll come up like that, recess in 20 or 25 mil, and then on the back of it, it'll have a little headrest that will swing back. Same on this side here. And then we've got our Nexus R5, which is going to go roughly here. 3 amplifiers to power all the stereo system. We've got 2 6-inch splits that we've got to fit somewhere up here as well. And then the 2 10-inch subs are going in here in the recesses behind the seats. And then obviously a box will be built behind that so that we can get proper bass out of them subwoofers. Once all that is done, then we will be moving to the dash and making all of our cuts and adjustments and whatever we're going to do, changing that. In the next episode, when we get closer to that dash, I will show you the head unit that we're going to be putting in there. It's massive screen, massive big Tesla style screen that we're going to be putting in, which is going to sit sort of this way. And obviously the dash in these things curves around and goes into the center console. We're going to take that curve out and continue with a flat, sort of more modern style dash with a big display right here, recessed in so it all looks factory, and then continue down to the original console, removing all of the bits and pieces that we don't want in there. No buttons. It will have one Heltec keypad to control all the features and functions in the car, and that's pretty much it. The rest will be just a nice clean hexagon, red hexagon leather stitched finished, alongside with a really nice dark suede, which we're going to have red stitching running along the edges. It's going to look really, really nice. But before we get too carried away with that, we've got to finish this back section, get all the cutouts, recesses, everything done so that these are all pieces we can pull out and put in. You do the same with the dash. Once all that's done, then we're going to start covering all these pieces with our material, which still isn't here yet. It's coming from the UK. It should be here relatively soon, so I don't think there's going to be any hold up with that. We've also got the engine parts coming next week, so we'll have basically everything ready to assemble the engine, so that video will be coming soon. So guys, if you've learned anything from this video watching, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, Mechanical Warriors. This is our first giveaway that we're giving away, a 1200 horsepower Toyota Supra. If you're keen to get in the draw, check out our app. Just search Mechanical Warriors at the App Store. Download the app, it's free to check out. There's other content on there for our members only as well. Check all that out, really, really awesome. It's only 30 bucks to get a ticket in to win this car. This is gonna be a badged, numbered car. We're gonna be badging all of our builds and numbering them as well. So this will be number one, which means the most valuable car. So make sure you get your tickets in to win it, and see you for the next one, guys. Cheers.